Continue मेरी बीमार ऐसे है मेरी
Hi everyone. This is Organic Serendipity. We're here broadcasting from GIMIC Radio in the heart of Brussels. My name is Matteo Vignier, aka Matsushito. Today's episode is called From Resistance to Downtempo. In a world where right-wing neoliberal capitalism and imperialist forces increasingly shape our cultural landscapes, electronic music remains a vital space for defiance, healing and collective power. Resistance isn't just about protest, it's also about reclaiming space, amplifying marginalized voices, and forging alternative futures through sounds. Today we will dive into why it's more crucial than ever for collectives to politicize their work, challenging the commodification of underground scenes and resisting the forces that seek to sanitize and depoliticize dance floors. We're joined today by Tropical Djipsies, who are actively pushing back against these structures, using music as both a weapon and a refuge. I expect a deep conversation on the intersections of sound and struggle, plus some tracks that will embody the spirit of resistance. Tune in today with Tropical Djipsies, live from GIMIC, featuring live tracks, insightful reflections, and an exploration of the global dynamics that are shaping the future of electronic music. Whether you're here for a thoughtful dialogue or to lose yourself in eclectic beats, Organic Serendipity is your passport to the unexpected connections that keep music alive and evolving. Hi, Tropical Djipsies, thank you very much for being here today. How are you first?
Hello. Thank you first to welcoming us. And yeah, we're good.
Yeah, all good?
I'm good. So I'm Didi, and here is Ash, aka DJ Shell.
Yeah, hi.
Can you tell us a little bit more about who you are personally, for how long you've been blasting music in Brussels, and also what is the story behind Tropical Djipsies?
Maybe I'll start then.
Yes.
So the Tropical Djipsies was born in 2019. At the time, I was part of the organization of a party called Giraffes and Penguins. And on Women's Day, the main organizer of this party challenged us to, me and Maria and Annie, two friends at the time who also were part of the orga, to play, to DJ. Because we're women, it's Women's Day. And just for a one-shot thing, we accepted, like, okay, let's have fun, you know. But then we loved it. And then we're like, oh, this is actually nicer than doing the cast and cooking and security and cleaning, you know?
We have things to say, we have things to blast as well.
We didn't know this was that cool, you know? And so then we suggested that to open every Giraffes and Penguins together as a trio DJ. And it went very well, was very fun. But then there was a COVID. And during the COVID, we all a little bit changed our paths. So Annie and Maria, they decided to do other things. And I stayed home, you know, digging, doing live streams for the radio, live streams on the web, like with funny props and really ridiculous clowny stuff.
Back in the days, the COVID lifestyle,
COVID,
right?
We did anything to communicate with the outside world, you know. DJ sets on the windows, stuff like this. So I continued, and then once the COVID was over, I found myself a bit alone, and the dream of Tropical Djipsies for me was to have female collective of passionate people that we're not together just because we're women playing, but because we are, first of all, because we're passionate by music, but to do it on the feminine vibes and on the feminine vision of things. And so I was dreaming to find somebody like Ash, Raquel, Muna, and the universe sent them. And it was amazing. So then Raquel was a friend for a long time, and she started mixing. So we put her on the boat. And then Ash had an atelier. She wanted to do a DJ atelier for a workshop to learn how to mix. She was doing a bit of production already before. And so there was a friend doing a workshop for women, for beginners, for a DJ. So we put them in contact. There, she met Muna. I did not know she had met Muna there, but the friend doing the workshop, she said, you have to meet Muna, and Ash is very good, so I think you have potential for, a collective here. And yeah, I went to meet Muna. Indeed, she's amazing. We loved each other directly. And then when I talked to Ash and Raquel about Muna, Ash was like, yes, Muna, we became super friends. So, everything was a bit like the stars
connecting the dots,
together,
right?
Yeah, it was very magical. And so this started, the first time we mixed together was December 2022, here in Reservoir, Rood. Okay. And from then on, we didn't really stop. We were always like, ah! And everybody is very fiery in her hearts. So, yeah. What would you like to say about that?
What is Tropical Gypsies for you? Maybe tell us a little bit more about how you arrived also in the collective and why this name Tropical Gypsies as well. I think people are curious to know because it's a name that has a lot of meaning as well. So happy to hear the behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, in my concern, so I started to following this DJ class with La Dame. And it was really thanks to Didi that she really, pushes me to go because she knew that I was, an old dancer. So I have really this music in my vein, in my body. And so when I started, I was just like, okay, let's, just promote our vision because I knew Didi from a long time ago and we were really in the same vibe, in the same spirit. Also concerning the way we love partying, we love gathering as well. So for me, it was really like, oh my God, there is really a possibility, to make things grow together with the common vision. So that was really how I arrived in the project with Muna. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was really like super enriching me, So it was, amazing and still for sure.
Okay, great.
And maybe concerning the name, Didi knows maybe better how to present Tropical Gypsies.
Yeah, actually, the name was a bit like, at the time, we needed a name, like, very quickly for the flyer of the
we
party.
Are booked. We need to be called something.
And so we did many suggestions. I suggested the Tropical Gypsies, and the girls loved it. They were like, yeah, let's go. And it's tropical because it's it's sunny vibes, and it's like we want just to pull it up, like to take you out of depression and just dance your sadness away. And
it's much needed in Brussels, I feel.
So. Of course, yeah. The sun has to be in your heart because it's not in the sky anyway. So the girls liked it, and we followed that name. And Gypsies is more in a sense of and traveling and the bohemian side of the thing, and also the fact that when we started, we were just autodidacts. Mm-hmm. We had never mixed before. We didn't go to school to learn something complicated. We were just like, okay, we love it. We have passion. Let's do it. Like guys would do it.
Of course.
Sometimes women are like, no, I
need to be good at it.
Very good because then I'm going to be judged. And guys are like, no, I'm going to try. And if it's okay, it's not okay. It's okay. No problem. So let's take that vibe.
Okay.
And,
that's how it started.
Yeah. Let's just try it.
For people who know you, they know that throughout your parties, throughout the music that you blast, you put a lot of intention, there's lots of activism in what you decide to play, and also you mentioned it already, like it's a big feministic movement as well. Would you say that your collective is an activistic collective?
I know people who are much more activist than me, that do much more in what comes to protests and text, and that dive and pass more time on it than me. We all do many different things. what is activist in us is really our hearts and our always everything we do in our life is towards that direction of creating a new world that doesn't have all this injustice and all this domination, this white domination. We are sick of it. So this is really following every step and every second of our lives. And so everything we do is towards that direction. Now, for example, when we started to do parties, we were like, let's not announce this like a feminist party. You know, let's not even announce this like a feminist collective. We are a collective of passionate people. And we're women.
Voilà.
You know? Let's normalize this. That women have the passion, have the capacity. They can do blasting parties. Not really centered on the fact that we're only women. But when you arrive, it's only women. It's like, oh, hell. They're kick-ass women, you know?
There's more just than the name, but there's also loads of things behind. Like there's the image, there's the history, there's like the passion.
Passion. And so that it becomes organic, so that it becomes natural, we don't even announce it. You know, it's just like subliminary message of like, this is happening, and so, and it's happening more and more. We're not the only collective doing this, or the only female artists moving forward. And you know, I see many very powerful women sparkling now, and it's
leading the scene. I would even say honestly, like it has been super exciting to see it change. Do you think, Shell, that on the perspective of the people who come to your events or to the listeners in general in Brussels, do you think that they are getting this message as well? Do they feel that there's a change in the landscape, in the electronic music landscape? What do you expect people to live with when they leave from your parties?
Yeah, actually, I think we are really lucky as well, because our public is really, aware of our values, of our, thoughts, and also in the way that they can really participate in promoting, the more female on stage. So I think, our public is really, really aware about that. And for example, what I love, it's also that even you are, a man, a woman, a transgender, you are really welcome to our parties. And so you don't feel really a separation between all the genders, for example. And so I love the fact that, that there is a place for everybody. Just bring, your best dancing shoes, your best vibe, and also to think what, brings us together, for example. So actually, when we are really talking after that to, our friends, our dancers, the public, we can really feel that they are really welcome, and we are so happy about that, because meaning that you can really come and share, all these values together. So yeah, it's super nice.
Super exciting.
We had also like really beautiful feedbacks of and women who came to speak with us saying like, thank you, we feel represented here. We feel like women power, like this is inspiring. So this idea of inspiring is like planting seeds, like something is starting there, like, oh, okay, I can maybe also do this, And also guys who came to speak with us to say like, it's really nice to be in a party where you see only women mixing and you love the music, and that you're doing it not because you're women, but because you are passionate people for what you're doing.
And you're gonna get something out of it just by participating to one of these events. That's super lovely to hear. For people who don't know them, Tropical Djipsies, go to their parties. This show is also about blasting the music that they blast. I have asked them to select a couple of tracks for you to understand a little bit more of their universe and also to illustrate what we're talking about. The first track is called Enfor. I don't know if I pronounce it well, from Big C and Black Boy. It's some Santa Lucian soca from 2019. Instead of talking too much about it, I'm just gonna show you what it is about.
Don't mind them. Show them. Medulani a madam. Ekini a belgofo. Forza la pani waze. Forza la pani bieba. Lani a fobo mamay. Eglana fobo sese. Lani a fobo cousin. Me forza la me brise. Oui, na plate moulon en fond. Na plate da chine en fond. Na plante coco ma fou, plante bien coco a fou. Mais tout in a bel go for de Kylie. Face à l'animo go long mogo palui. Coco make bima elle family. Wokan di lance sa ikadi. Coupe chobwa, kout la en fou. Fouye force la, fak la en fou. Tiete ya, pel la en fou. Seb la togo, oui di danse moulo en fou. Na plante dashi en fou. Na plante coco ma fou. Plante bien coco en fou. Na plante moulo en fou. Na plante dashi en fou. Na plante coco ma fou. Plante bien coco en fou. Non vle vin ta ya fou. Me yo ban pou ya fou. Non vle vin ni klem en fou. Me yo ban bagay en fou. Na vini pousse ya fou. Na vini dormi en fou. Le me fait ta ya fou. Na fait collage en fou. Boum. Na plante moulo en fou. Na plante dashi en fou. Na plante coco en fou. Plante bien coco en fou. Na plante moulo en fou. Na plante dashi en fou. Na plante coco en fou. Plante bien coco en fou.
Toi, car, moi c'est à bout, là me vient travail. Ma cage je vais ti ma maille. Allez donc me camete shy. Moi c'est à bout, me bec ouais. Hori a nai harvest ko comme là. Deme nai fouiller dashin là. Vendredi c'est eyeball la place là. Pour nous mélange, voilà.
In a bel go for de Kylie. Face à l'animo go long mogo palui. Coco make bima elle family. Wokan di lance sa ikadi. Coupe chobwa, kout la en fou. Fouille force la, fak la en fou. Tiete ya, pel la en fou. Seb la togo, na plante moulo en fou. Na plante dashi en fou. Na plante coco en fou. Plante bien coco en fou. Na plante moulo en fou. Na plante dashi en fou. Na plante coco en fou. Plante bien coco en fou.
Wow, this was a very exciting start for the first track selected by Tropical Djipsies. Shell, you are the one who selected this track. Can you tell us a bit more why this track and a little bit the behind the scenes, how it's fitting this episode of today that is about resistance and different tempos?
Yeah, exactly. So I chose this song because so I have Haitian roots. And so the lyrics are in Creole, Haitian Creole. So I was really surprising as well to hear more, Creole in electronic music, because as you may know, or maybe you don't know, but Haiti was the first country in the world to take this independence.
Exactly.
So in the lyrics, they are really also saying, how the colonization destructs all the
richness of
that
one country, yeah.
Exactly, that
and
they
still
are.
today they're struggling because of the colonization.
Exactly.
That's the whole history of Haiti, unfortunately.
Exactly, and so I love the fact that the composer really brings this fact still with the historic element, but still in a danceability way, So for me, it's really how you can also express, injustice, and also be a part, in the activism. So yes, I love this song.
Art is resistance after all, and a lot also in electronic music that has always been seen a little bit as a counter movement, a counter culture as well. It has been seen as a tool of protest and of survival. Do you think that today electronic music still has this tradition of a genre that is made for resistance, or it has a little bit shifted away from its original purposes?
Oh, well, I think now we are in a great period to really connect music with resistance, because I have several examples in mind. If you take, for example, baile funk, in Brazil, it's really, coming from the ghetto, the favelas, so it's talking a lot about the social, condition.
And realities, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, for example, also when you see in Palestine as well, with the electronic, how they can really promote also other inequality. So I think, it still goes together, and maybe more and more with the young generation, And so, I think it's super connected.
I see Didi smiling to this answer. Do you want to react as well?
Yeah, so I think that always existed. There's always people who will do more commercial things that are less, of course, reivindicative of our rights. But there's always people who take music to pass a message, to inspire, to express their own rage as well against the system. And beautiful. That's where we want to work.
It's very nice that you start talking about like this more commercial side of things, because I feel that in music and in electronic music there's always been this tension between keeping a scene more underground and having to commercialize it to survive at the end of the day, because we all need to eat and we all need to have a roof on top of our heads. How you personally and as a collective do you navigate between this balance of keeping it a bit underground and still having to commercialize it, promote it, and everything?
Yeah, personally dedicating time to dig like bangers that will make you dance like wow, and then after dancing you'll be asking questions like, wait a minute, what was he talking about, you know? Or sometimes there's songs who are just purely electronic, don't even have lyrics, who are talking about these issues, but the person doing it is transmitting it on the creation of the song, and you might still feel it, and you know that you're supporting an artist who is creating on that vision, so that's good. So I would say for me it would be more like choosing songs who are who have this spirit in them, but which are bangers, you know, that you will want to move. So this makes like party. This makes like, okay, we're gonna go there because we want to dance and have fun, but at the same time, this message is always there, you know.
Would you say, Shell, that there's a the sound itself, when we talk about genres, when we talk about beats, about breaks, about different messages in the music, about influences, rhythms, textures, would you say that there are specific ones that are enabling this type of resistance, but purely sound speaking? Like, would you say that there are sounds that are like this?
Yeah, I'm so agree with you, because as you may know as well, more in the mainstream sounds, there is what we can call, you know, the magical accord, you know, and I think it's really, you know, related to all the songs that there are a lot of diffusion around that, meaning in the like mainstream radios, TV shows and stuff. And sometimes when we are just listening to the song, there are really similarity between all these mainstream songs, you know, meaning that they know that, for example, a song that, you know, were really, you know, a lot of listens, and sometimes, yeah, a producer will really take again and again the same notes, you know. So I think the best to also get out of this stream is to try a more like a lab, you know, to say, okay, I'm gonna put more, you know, soundscapes, be more, experimental in a way, because you can really bring more emotion sometimes by, you know, have a lot of different kind of sounds, really some coming from, you know, from outside world, or really coming from the studio. So I think, there is really special
types of beats and everything that are
exactly.
more eager to make people maybe reflect more on what's electronic music and how of a resistance it can be. You dropped a couple of names of like baile funk and more like Caribbean genres. Do you have also in mind some names that also, as a matter of a fact, for people that only see electronic music as something a little bit binary or something that is always 130 BPM and stuff? Do you also have genres just to mention here that can also be exciting for people to discover?
Yeah, you mean in what comes to resistance music always?
Yeah, or the music that you play in general, because I think that indeed the resistance music itself can be seen as a genre, but more globally, the way what you do out of this music, out of music in general, can be seen as a resistance too.
Yeah, it's true that we don't always choose music that have, for example, a speech of resistance. It's more about the sonority that it brings. The baile funk is a good example, and I think everything that comes from the ghettos, from really poor neighborhoods where people are suffering every day, this social injustice to its core, because we complain, but still, we're not living in a building that has no electricity and you have to pull the cables, which is the case of some friends who live in Portugal, for example, in Lisbon. And Lisbon is a very good example because it's where the batida was born. And that's the song I will play today is connected to that.
A bit of a teasing situation. You will listen.
Because it's connected to the history of Portugal being back in the day a colonizer and having colonized several African countries, and then the people would come to Lisbon to escape from what the colonial powers had caused there, and they were pushed to live in the suburbs. So some of these neighborhoods the buildings are not even built yet, construction stopped there in the 90s, and so these are really hardcore conditions to live in. And so these people who are very creative and have a lot of suffering in them were pushed to the limit. And that, I think that's the thing why I love music that comes from ghettos all over the world, is because these are creative people who have been pushed to their limits. And then they got out with beats that you're like, what? You don't know why it hits you so hard, but it hits you really hard, And that's the case of Kuduro, for example. We started in Angola, but then when it traveled to Portugal through the people who came, for example, from Angola, it gave something different, which is batida, which is a bit like the Lisbon vibe with the Angola vibe, with all this. That's a very good example of that. What else can we say? What was the question again?
No, it's about the genres, but I think you dropped actually some very interesting names. So batida and kuduro are genres that you can listen to a lot in Lisbon, and it's also the story of the migration that is surrounding all this. And once again, migration is good. It's good for music. It's good for people to blend in, to mix in, to exchange cultures and knowledge and struggles as well. Maybe a question that is a little bit less positive, I would say, but I'm curious to hear your feedback about this. So the introduction to this episode I put is an artist called Muslim Goes. The track is called Mullah Said, and basically this artist has spent his life trying to raise the voices of people who were struggling in Palestine, always naming his songs after names that are well recognizable in Palestine or in the Arabic world, having this kind of dynamic that mixes politics, social dynamics, and music. But unfortunately, you have also people who criticize him for a bit doing some fetishization of the whole thing, himself not being that much from the community. How would you say that one can embrace this resistance through music without falling into fetishization?
What do you mean with fetish?
No, but basically being like not necessarily being too much from the history that is being talked about in these songs or what is vehiculated throughout these genres. Being, for instance, from Belgium and playing only batida, or being from the UK and using only Afro tunes. Do you think that it's made in a healthy way, or you have to be a bit careful that you're not assimilating or like cultural appropriation and stuff like that? How do you navigate through this? Maybe Shell, you had I saw that you were looking at the mic being like, I know what to say about this.
I think it's to find the good balance between how you can meet like musical culture and not instrumentalize it, because sometimes we can really see, through media that there is something, in the trend for now, and people can really take it, but by not really knowing it or do some research or criticize our sources. And I think, it's super nice that, you can create or be really interesting in other culture. I think it's how the world should be, but really in the good intention, meaning that is gonna really promote and help and heal in a way, or like joined as well, all the social movement. And so I think, it's about finding maybe a right balance that, you need to stay true and, act with your art.
And learn what you're playing, actually. Learn about it and go a bit beyond just the trend of maybe the rhythm, but also understand that behind there's, as you said, maybe people who are living in very difficult conditions and still are making this music and all that stuff, right?
Exactly. Be aware about that. And I think I have a good intention how you can, promote that as well. And you?
Yeah. This thing of knowing what you're playing is also a little bit about respect. Respect towards the people who are doing the music that you're playing, or if you are producing it yourself and you're a person from Belgium and you're producing music from somewhere who has nothing to do with the country where you're born. This can also be because you are passionate about it. And if it's about passion and if you respect it and if you do it with your spirits in the right place,
it's healthy.
I think it can be healthy, yeah.
Wonderful. Super nice. I hope lots of people listen to this and they're not afraid of mixing other genres that they are not necessarily
because
from it.
Yes, or else I'm from Lisbon. I would do fado all the time. I mean, given moment I'd be bored. I think So,
need more breaks. Need more.
Also, like I think in 2025, it's impossible that we are not all mixed. That we have many mixes in us.
This
so
is beautifully
our spirit
said.
is old. I feel very touched by the Gnawa music, for example. As you know, we had talked about this before. And it's very ancient music. And some people look at me and like, but you're not Moroccan, you're Portuguese. How do you? And like, I don't know. This just
the energy is going through you as
and
well.
my spirit wants to do this. I cannot tie myself to a chair. Like I have to do this. So sometimes it's also not forgetting that we have a very short lifespan as humans. But our spirits are older, So it's also about all the DNA memory that you have in you, maybe. I don't know.
I think Gnawa is also one of the best examples for that because it's one of the most spiritual musics that exist throughout the whole sonic landscape. For those who don't know it, be ready. If you ever listen to it, it can take you into a trance that is stronger than anything that you knew before. As I said before, there's the Tropical Gypsies came with some tracks for you to listen to. The next one is called Ashti Figrini. It's from Aïta Mon Amour. Basically, it's a mix between a Moroccan rap and a Tunisian multi-instrumentalist. We're going to talk about it just after listening to this track. It's Aïta Mon Amour.
ويله مستندركو وممتع على قيدي هادو الخيل يا سيدي يا هو يا والعداك يا كداتي ويلي يا هو يا سيد احمد يا هو يا حرش العيون مشات فقعانة وعاد الخيل
Yes. It was Aïta Mon Amour. This song is called Ashti Figrini. You are still listening to Organic Serendipity here at GIMIC from Brussels with Tropical Gypsies. One thing you should know, Tropical Gypsies is more than these two wonderful people that are in front of me, and this track has been selected by one of the members that couldn't come today. Maybe can you tell us a little bit more what she meant by selecting this track?
Exactly. So the song were selected by Muna, Afifa. And
Hi
she's,
Muna, how have you?
yeah, hello babe, we love you. And yeah.
Bibinha.
And so she said she select this song because it's a powerful project. It honors the Shirat, Moroccan traditional singer, who sing about love and social thematics, but were also many figures of resistance against colonial oppression and tyrannical shift, who follow the orders of the central state. So for Muna, this song is particular because it was the song was sung by Darbusha, a Shira who defied the Cade who governed the region where she and her people lived. So for Muna, it was really important as well to bring more this Moroccan resistance because actually she's living also in Morocco.
Okay.
And so she feels really concerned about all this history, this evolution as well. And I think it was a super nice choice. From her as well.
I loved it as well. I hope that you loved it also. Just as a reminder, it's from Aïta Mon Amour. Google it, look at it on YouTube, give some support. It means a lot also, I imagine, for communities that are struggling and they want their struggle to be a little bit more known abroad. In terms of community, I feel that it plays a very important role in the moment of leading resistance. Many resistance movements actually they thrive on collectivity. What does community mean for you? Community is a heavy word sometimes. It can mean lots of things. For you, Tropical Gypsies, or for you, Didi and Shell, what does community mean in the sense of resistance?
It's one of the most important things in resistance because when we are together, we are so much stronger than when we are alone. We are alone with just one person, with a little ant in the middle of this big. When we're together, it's like a mushroom that has this, it's like the roots of the trees underneath the ground that communicate with it. We become.
I have the image right in the head, honestly.
We become something big, and this is something I love in our parties because the four of us, we have the notion of this, and this lives inside of us. So in our events, this happens also, that we want this with the public. So we are always communicating energetically and by looking and dancing and so it becomes really a collective energy, and that's very beautiful to see just in events because there's lots of people you don't know there, and to feel this collective energy with strangers is amazing because this gives a lot of hope. It means that this is possible actually. And we just forgot it because we live for so many generations in a capitalist society who wants you individually, alone, if possible, sick, tired, too busy to think. So it's very easy to control people who are like this, alone, sick, tired. So if we are together and we are strong, that's very hard to control a mass like that. So
to defeat even, like we're
for
stronger.
me, community is the future, is the present as well. But the future is the answer is community. And if you help each other and when we share everything, everybody has everything. If you just keep it for yourself,
it's not going very far at the end.
No, you will just.
If I can add maybe
Of
something,
course, totally.
I will say also community. It's also be aware about all our differences, meaning that we don't have to be like inspired by just one model of type of human. I think it's super important as well to respect all our differences. And it's like sometimes a bit paradox, but it's because of our differences that we can be one. I think so. Yeah, it was really one of the things I wanted to add because
This is a highlight of this show, I imagine. Honestly, like listen to this sentence again and again. It might clarify your mind on loads of topics. I feel that unfortunately, there's people who didn't reach this level of understanding on how community is important, and they might even put you some breaks or some stops in what you want to do. Is it something that you have faced throughout the evolution of your whole collective, like struggle in finding fundings or even censorship? Have you seen moments where you felt that you couldn't express yourself the way that you wanted? Maybe share with us an example or something that you maybe heard from other collectives that wanted to share this kind of positive community energy, but somehow because of others controlling the narratives, they couldn't. Have you encountered this kind of moments?
Well, I think in our collective, Tropical Gypsies, we have really the chance to be really communicative, and I think sometimes to feel comfortable to talk about, what are your preoccupations and stuff. But I think in our side, I never felt, that kind of stuff. But I know that in many kind of collective, in arts in general and culture, for sure it can happen because if you are an association that really requires a lot of, resources. Sometimes, it can be really difficult. So I think, it's not that easy. It's complex to be also in a collective. Mm-hmm. And so, sometimes it's to find the good steps and not to be too, not wanted to go too fast on some stuff, take the time to see what can be, the missions, the objectives, what we can think more. And so, I think, it can be more complex, but what do you think?
I think we are in a good spot, us, because we have all this that we have been talking about, this community feeling, and we do things together, but we created a collective, so it's not an SBL, we don't depend on fundings, we don't even ask them, you know what I mean?
You avoid lots of problems, I imagine, also by doing that.
Because we have this residency in Illegal 4 times a year, which allows us to basically do a little bit what we want without funding. So we pay everything with what comes from the CAS. So it's contribution from the public to the party. And like this, we are not depending on the answer of somebody in an office who will probably prefer to give a subsidy to a guy who has a...
Let's name it to a guy. That guy that we all know.
We have to joke a little bit along the way, huh? But I mean, who will prefer? But basically, they prefer always to give subsidies also to people who already have money, which is for me I don't understand that. It's like if you already have money, you don't
need more. from.
But I was talking over this with Bushra, who has an association called Zoart, and she's a lady who works a lot in this middle of, she has an SBL, and she's always doing dossier for fundings. She works a lot to have it, and often tell me that often it's refused, and when I see those people who get it, it was actually men, Yeah. And she's like, again, so we don't even like subsidies. And when it comes to censor, of course we don't censor each other's, but I felt this very strong when we did an event to collect funds for Palestine. Normally we do something on Instagram, on Facebook, and we have a lot of views and likes, and that one we were scared because we're like, oh, so we're all going to play for free to gather money to send to victims.
For a good cause.
For genocide victims, for a good cause. And now we have 10 likes, 3 likes. What is this? This is not normal. This never happens. But fortunately, Bruxelles, because Brussels is not that big and it's quite communitary as well. It's tight. So fortunately, people came and it was nice. But a given moment, we're like, okay,
something is happening.
Something is happening, and there I could feel it. But other than that,
no.
We also don't we don't try a lot to go into the places where we're going to be censored. We already know our families and where it's going to be more. It's good to open people's minds, those who are not yet awakened. But it's also very productive, maybe more, to work with people who are already awake, because that's going to give more strength, and then those who have to wake up slowly, they will wake up slowly, and while they have their breakfast, you'll see, oh, there's something happening there. Okay, maybe we'll join, you know? So this is maybe more a productive way of doing it than to always been trying to pull people who are not ready yet, you know?
And you're already organizing an event, preparing a set, diffusing your message. You cannot also spend extra time also forcing people that are not already awake yet to understand what you mean when you're
And maybe
playing.
that's just our role. Maybe that people have different roles in societies, and maybe there are people who are good in doing this, in like, yeah, but think about it, in pulling in, and others are better to just okay, let's do the best we can and expect that people will come, you know, like.
I feel you, and I really like it because you're again creating a bridge to the question that is going to be asked right now. But I feel that Brussels, being a very multicultural city where you have had lots of influences because of the colonial history, because of migration as well. You have very, very big North African communities, Portuguese communities, Afro communities in general. And they all come with their cultures, with their struggles as well. Do you think Brussels or Belgium in general is becoming more and more of a fertile ground for resistance in music?
Yeah, I do. I think Brussels is very fertile in that because of what you just said, because it's multicultural, and not just multicultural, but intercultural, meaning people are not just a lot of different communities living here separately. No, we are really, it depends on what you do in life. Maybe if you work in the, you know, I don't
Other stuff.
and other stuff. But at least in our circuit, it's really like sometimes if we think about it, we have like 30 different countries in the same room, you know, it's like, wow, amazing. So, and people are working together and sharing together. And so, yeah, this gives a very, it's very, for the brain, this is best gymnastics you can do. Like your brain goes like, wow, you know, you learn so much because there's so many different information happening all the time. And that's beautiful. And that's, again, a very good way of constructing community power with, like, to gain conscience that the planet is not that big, you know, and we're
and it can
one.
gather in Brussels as well.
Yeah, in Brussels we have a little sample of the planet, you know.
I feel you.
So
Do you feel the same, Shell?
Yeah, exactly. Because also when we see the history of Belgium, for me, you know, so Belgium was really like a late country to be that were created, and so before it was really like a countryside, you know, where people were really passing. And so I love, so the result of that, it means that it's really multicultural, and people also feel comfortable to, you know, to bring their own culture values, but also to make them meet others, you know. There is not a big fight, you know, between that, because I think that's why people, you know, arrived in Brussels and also live. It's yes, I think it's really this connection, really special, really unique, because when, you know, we traveled in other countries, other big cities, for example, sometimes you don't feel this, but I think
that is taking, no, that
yeah.
the paste is mixing with each other. Right?
Exactly, and so I think, yeah, it's because, yeah, for sure, of the geography of Brussels, and a lot of historical elements. But yeah, I love the idea that in Brussels there is a lot of possibilities, you know, to create, to meet, to do. So yeah, it's a really creative city.
Nice. For those who don't know Brussels very well, don't hesitate to come and to witness this strength in interculturality. And talking about interculturality, let's play the next song that is called La Banta Brasso. Maybe this one is a bit more important to talk about it before we blast it. The meaning of the main sentence that is repeated in the song is "Raise your arms and shout for freedom." Basically, it's a song coming from Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau, and it talks about basically this Amilcar Cabral, who brought the independence to these countries. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit more before I play it.
Yes, first of all, I would like to say, as you said before, our collective is composed by 4 people, and 2 of them cannot be here. Muna, she's in Morocco, and Raquel, she's working. I hope she will come later for a drink. But this song was chosen by Raquel. She has also Cape Verdean roots. And she sent us a little text that Ash has here on her phone, and we're going to read why she chose this song.
Hi, Raquel.
Hi, Raquel.
Yes. So yes, she said she chose this song because it symbolizes the resistance and hope of a people who fought for their freedom. Its message reflects the unity and the strength of Cape Verdean in face of oppression. And so it's also sorry, I lost that.
Pen and paper, baby.
Yeah, because so the country it's a tribute to Amilcar Cabral, as you said, a key figure in struggle against Portuguese colonialism. So it's super historical. So.
It's super powerful, and let's listen to it so we understand a little bit more what it is about.
Publicidade, 5 de julho, assim nome de liberdade. 5 de julho, caminho aberto, publicidade. Grita, viva a cara, onda, combatente de nossa terra. Grita, viva a cara, onda, combatente de nossa terra.
I don't know if it's your case as well, but you hear the struggle and you hear the fight behind this whole song called Levanta Braço, Raise Your Arm. For those who don't know, it's about liberation in Cabo Verde. And if you don't know the story of its liberation, Google it. We don't have that much time more, so I think my last two questions will be more about the future of the scene and the future of your collective as well. Lately, we've seen that Belgium is shifting a little bit towards a future in politics that is a little bit dark, that is not necessarily very open to interculturalities, as you mentioned just before. Do you think it's a threat to the dynamic that we're seeing as music being part of resistance, or music really like bringing people together? Or on the other side, maybe it will strengthen the bonds between all these cultures and really be used as a counterpower to what is happening right now?
This often happens when there's like right-wing things, like people coming up. Things, not people, things. Matter. I'm still deciding if they're humans or not. That's why.
They don't know themselves.
But it's common that when this happens, on one hand you feel the oppression, so it's not cool. Of course, we would like to live in a planet where this doesn't happen, but at the same time, because it pushes you against, it's pushing you towards your limits. So this also sometimes strengthens community power, you know, like people have to somehow survive it, get their music out, get their word out. You get even more pissed off, so you're gonna shout even stronger, you know. And
do even more parties are at illegal.
Yes, or just in the street. So it's sometimes it's actually they want to oppress us, and the result is the opposite. Is that people go like, "Bah, no, you just have to explode at it," So let's hope that this will bring good things, even though it's a bad thing. Would you like to say?
Exactly. No, I'm so agree with you. Yeah.
Let's make this a collective message for all the collectives that are afraid that they will struggle. Maybe this is also a wake-up call to unite even more and bring cultures together. If you don't know them, it's Tropical Gypsies. They are super cool. They are doing crazy cool parties as well, and I'm pretty sure that they are super open for feedback and for people to come to their parties and to understand a little bit more their universe and to understand that. Maybe can you tell us a little bit more, since it's the end of this episode, what can we expect in the next couple of months from you, and where can we find you to support you as well?
Yeah, so we have a page on Instagram and on Facebook. We have this residency in Illegal, which we do 4 times a year. March, there'll be Women's Day. We will have to do something, but we haven't decided yet what. Maybe it'll just be a pop-up party somewhere. Stay tuned. And on the 12th of March, me and Ash, we're mixing but in Wavre, also in a feminist event, but it's a little bit far away maybe. In Brussels, we'll have the 29th of March. In Illegal, and the focus will be Brazil. It starts with a workshop of carimbó and with a presentation of capoeira. The people we invited for this party to start with is Patricia, who works for an association in Brazil who helps victims of violence, women victims of violence. And she works a lot with the indigenous community of Brazil. And this is something we also strongly believe, is that we have to give more voice to indigenous people, to those who were there from the beginning and who really have this connection to nature that is a bit the answer and the opposite of what we're living right now. So it's hard to explain, but I think now we're living something that is completely anti-natural to human beings. And so we try to get closer to people who have this strong message of like, we are in contact with nature. It's like we didn't forget our roots. We didn't forget that we're humans, and we have to humanize things because this is going very wrong. So yeah, the 29th of March in Illegal starts at 8 o'clock p.m. There will be food and carimbó and capoeira. We will mix the 4 of us as well, and we invited Galecta and DJ Lua. They are baile funk DJs coming from the favela, but they're living in Rotterdam. They're living in Holland, so they're coming to spice it up with us. It's gonna be wicked.
It's gonna be wicked. It's gonna be wicked. So go to their party, follow them. We're gonna close with a final song, but before, I just wanted to thank you for tuning in, for following GIMIC, for following this episode. There's gonna be a next episode next month, and I will close with the same kind of sentence. Always keep an eye open and an attentive ear to what's going on in the scene and around. And the last song that we're gonna play today is CP from Nidia. You want to say a last
I would like to say just something.
Of course, you're here.
Nidia, I chose the song because I love the song, but also because she's the only female DJ producer who is inside of Príncipe Discos. And Príncipe Discos is important in Lisbon because it gives voice, brings to light amazing artists who live in Lisbon, but who come from Angola, Guinea-Bissau. In the case of Nidia, she has origins in Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde, and this album is called Mulheres, 19 Mulheres, and it's really a compliment and an putting in honor the work of women in the revolution of their country, so against colonization of Portugal again. So thank you, Milcar Cabral, for the revolution and for liberation. Thank you, Nidia, for all the work she does. And this song will start
You're gonna love
now.
it.